Welcome back to the Mantuary podcast. Hopefully everybody's having a good one, having a good time, and all of that good stuff, man. My name is Marine X, back here just chilling out, all that good stuff again. A lot of things on the head, a lot of things to talk about. In Man Cave, just vibing out, chilling out. I thought might as well light up a stick. Might as well get the conversation going. There's a lot of stuff going on in the world, of stuff going on in history. Talk about what's in my pockets. Talk about what I'm drinking. All that good stuff, man. Let's get it going. Let's talk about what I'm actually smoking on today. Things that we're kind of just chilling on today as well. Now, listen, we're going to be still sticking with my Rittenhouse rye. I did change the cigar up a little bit, but this Rittenhouse rye is just something that you can't go wrong with for $26. It gives me mint, caramel. It gives me like dill pickle. It gives me toast. Overall, I know it gives all sorts of different flavors. But if you're normally a bourbon drinker, you're trying to figure out how can you get yourself to go over to the confines of trying out something that is rye, then I would say Rittenhouse is a good starter. It is bottled in bond. It's 100 proof. You normally can pick this thing up for about $26. At least that's how much it is in my specific area. I don't want to just misquote and overquote exactly how much you might be paying for, but I've never specifically paid too much more than that. Otherwise, it would be a whole issue because I wouldn't be paying for it. So I decided to go with a Cuban Reject instead of the Avo that you see here on the B-roll. They're kissing cousins. The Cuban Reject actually is a Nicaraguan cigar. They just call it a Cuban Reject. But still a lovely flavor, a lovely taste, something I like to vibe out with, man. And so overall, I like this combination. I like the combination of being able to have my stick, have everything going, all that good stuff, all that good stuff. Let me know what you guys carried in your pocket today, what you got going on for today, all that good stuff. Put it in the comments down below and let me know, what did you carry? Is your day over? All of that. In the pocket today, man, I'm back to my Hogue Deca. Now, for a while, I had the tactile turn to Bacabra. A nice, unique knife, Magna Cut blade steel. It has that, what do they call it? The super lock on there. A very unique one. But I wanted to get back to this just beastly G10 scale beast of a knife made by Hogue, the Deca, the Able lock. I think it's very, very able, no pun intended. But it's something I'm a big fan of. Okay, I like to be able to just kind of have this, use it as I see fit. And I never have too many complaints about this. CPM 20 CV blade steel, their version of the Axis lock. They call it the Able lock. And overall, I like the way this thing vibes out. Now, they make it in a clip point. If you don't want to get a warning, you also can get it in different scales. You can also get it in Magna Cut. Listen, I've had this knife for 2 years. I'm starting to fall in love with it more and more. If you're a channel member, you can see that I've already dropped a full knife tour. If you're not a channel member, my full knife tour will be coming out in about 2 days on my channel. It's already filmed. It's already ready to rock and roll. This knife is getting heavily carried. I don't know if it can be my one and done knife, but it's something that I'm thoroughly enjoying. Let me guys know, do you own a Hogue Deca? Would you get this over the Bug Out? Would you get this over like the Drop Point by Kaiser, or the Drop Bear rather? By Kaiser? Is this something that is just something that's, I don't know. Hogue is for the tactical bros, made in America. I'm a big fan of it overall. Now, in the pocket specifically today was the WWIII XO. WWIII is, I'm trying to give them another chance. Okay, trying to give them another chance because this pocket clip is so aggressive. Today I did a lot of work around the house. Give me an attaboy in the chat, man. Give me a goddamn attaboy in the chat, okay? I did a lot of work around the house. I'm proud of myself. I did so much work, man. I had to remove wallpaper in the powder bathroom. I also had to prep the pool for, I'm going to be doing some tile work and some coping work here soon. And so I did a lot of prep work for that. Started the acid wash process. I had to stop because it started raining. But I wanted to have a flashlight in my pocket that I can throw fully in the pocket, had a magnetic base, and I wanted to see how dirty it would get. Of course, working with acid wash, working with dirt on my hands, working with wallpaper, which is super messy. I don't know if you guys have ever removed wallpaper before, but this wallpaper was installed on this bathroom in 1993. But I just wanted to see how this thing, how capable it is. It is a nice little capable light. I like the fact that it is 90-degree angle. It kind of makes life a little bit easier for the use case on that. So that's a nice coupled pair together that I've been kind of rocking out. Now I am been testing out lately, and it feels weird to test this thing out. If it does feel weird to test this thing out, but I am testing out the actual wingback sling bag. This is a 2.5 liter sling bag. Now I have thoughts about it. I'll probably do a full review, but you see all those specs on it? That's one little complaint. It does pick up like little specs very, very easily. Okay. So you got the specs that kind of pick up very, very easily. But overall, this bag does have a lot of aesthetics to it that I'm a big fan of. And so for the most part, I like the fact that it does have like brass accents on it. And you can kind of vibe out and enjoy that type of stuff. You also have a nice grab handle. You also have the full strap that you can wear. I will say this for a UK company, for a British company, they seem to make a fairly good product. I'm going to overall probably be doing a full review over it, but this has made it to the point where I'm able to kind of it saddens my heart a little bit, but I had to kind of get rid of my nutsack double admin pouch, which is the all leather pouch, to use this thing. But it does seem to sit my stuff very, very comfortably. Okay. And the pouch overall, or the sling overall, it does turn into a pouch if you take the actual slings off, which I'm a big fan of that. Now, the loadout pretty much stays consistently the same. Just to test this thing out, Tide pin, we got the Kershaw Leak Bastion pin, the Woobin X2, which is, listen, Woobin, got the Woobins going on as well. The Leatherman Free P4, which listen, I'm more and more falling in love with this every day, the more and more that I actually utilize this thing. The Victorinox nail clippers are behind it, just in case my nails grow. My hair and my nails grow incredibly fast. If you haven't noticed, if you've been following this channel for any number of years, my dreads have been growing like crazy. My nails grow like crazy. So I'm always clipping those. Benchmade cigar cutter, a lighter, a few other things in here, but I'll probably do a full review of this sling to give my thoughts about it. But this has kind of been the loadout. Now, what I normally would do is if I have to go anywhere today, very, very light loadout, man. Okay, let's just keep it real. Didn't do a lot. Back and forth to Costco, back and forth to Lowe's. A lot easy to just grab this thing and just kind of, this is my favorite part of this sling, is just to be able to grab it, take it with me. And also I use that to hang it from stuff. I just took the sling and literally hung it from the side of my table, my little man cave table here. The A12 Dirty Dozen by VAR. VAR is, listen, I had a couple of watch companies that I really wanted to work with, but I really wanted to give them a go. And it was between VAR, it was between Hamilton. It was just a smaller company called, I think they're called Pricey. If I'm mispronouncing that, let me know. And Pricey and VAR are the only two that still actually assemble watches in America. Hamilton has moved all their facilities to Switzerland. They used to be made in America, so I knew that I didn't want to really mess with them anymore. So I fell in love with VAR 2 years ago, and I've been rocking them ever since, man. I still try other watches. I have the Benchmade, which is a fantastic watch, but that's made in Switzerland. This is a made in Switzerland VAR, but most of the watches I have are assembled in America. This is the A12 Dirty Dozen, where you can actually see, oh my gosh, you can see through the case. You can see that beautiful automatic movement. It's a Swiss movement. Probably my favorite watch by VAR. It's a 36 millimeter case. I know you guys might like your smart watches. You might like your big old 40 millimeter, 43 millimeter watches, but try to get yourself a 36 millimeter watch. See if you fall in love with it. Okay. And, you know, see if it's something that you want to try. I don't know why men all for the last few years have been just super down with super big and fat watch faces. I don't know what's going on with that overall or why they want to do it, but it is something that hopefully people get away from slowly but surely. But let me know what you guys carry as well. My loadout is pretty concrete. It's something that I'm pretty proud of. I pretty much have been able to kind of just streamline it exactly how I want it. And I will change it up probably as we move further into the summer, but I just don't want to be a monthly loadout type of channel. I want to get away from that. So this is kind of why I kind of positioned mine how I have it so far. But today in history, Jackie Robinson played his first Major League Baseball game. Now, that was very controversial back then. Forced integration to get rid of segregation in Major League Baseball. He went from the Negro Leagues to Major League Baseball. Of course, Jackie Robinson smashed, fantastic career. Had a whole movie done about a number 42, the whole shabazz, right? So I think that, we had, it was forced progression, but we had progression nonetheless. And I can appreciate the historical trends that came with that. Another thing that happened on April 15th, and this specifically was 2013, we had those scum buckets commit the terrorism attack with the Boston bombing. Coincidentally, today was the Boston Marathon. The Boston bombing occurred at the Boston Marathon. 3 people were killed. Over 200 people were wounded. And remember, those guys ended up hiding in a boat. I know one of them they caught in a boat. Did the other one die? But I know for a fact one of them they caught in a boat. That's when I learned how crazy good technology our boys in blue, the technology that they have. I love the fact that they found this chump in the back of someone's boat underneath their cover where the dog may not have been able to sniff him out. Of course, the humans weren't able to detect him. He's being bone quiet. But the helicopter with the temperature sensing technology, this was 11 years ago. Back then, I didn't know this type of technology existed. They're able to spot you in a swamp where you might be trying to be under the swamp and just have a little leaf and have a one way to breathe. They can spot you in a swamp. So I love the fact that they were able to catch that dirt bag, but the bombing happened that day. One thing I also need to talk about is Grail EDC, not for me. This is a section where I talk about everyday carry knives or items or whatever, which do not tickle my fancy. This is going to be a category of items. This is anything new from Benchmade, okay? Anything. They have an onslaught of items that's about to drop, and none of them are for me right now. And it's for a number of reasons. First off, don't get it twisted. Don't think that I don't think some of these are aesthetically pleasing, okay? The Benchmade Narrows, it's a panty dropper, too goddamn high for pricing wise. I particularly enjoy the Benchmade Bailout a little bit more than the Narrows. I think I would probably get the Anthem before I ever got the damn Narrows, but the Bushcrafter. I own the Bushcrafter. I have it in the OG color, in the blue color. I got the Bushcrafter for $189 on base. It is now $400. Is that $400? $400? What's going on? Still S30V blade still. It's still designed to be used outdoors for whittling and to be put into blood and to cut breast off a turkey and to do all sorts of stuff like that. Why is the price significantly going higher? Yes, they changed the sheath from like this canvas sheath or whatever it was before to, I think they're changing it to leather. They got a mini Bushcrafted that's coming out now. Overall, I can just say that Benchmade has, in my opinion, jumped the shark. I think I might even do a whole video about this. I am a Benchmade sheep, but mostly for whenever I can get a steal of a deal. I do find it a little bit unfair that I'm able to buy Benchmade items at MSRP or even cheaper than that because I can buy them on base. I have a friend who writes contracts for the base, and Benchmade cannot upcharge the prices on base. So, for instance, the Adamas on base is sub $200. Adamas in real life, you're not paying that. They're about to drop the mini Adamas Auto. Those are very interesting. I actually would like to check those out, but not for these prices. So for me particularly, anything new that's about to be dropped by Benchmade is EDC, not for me. Now, don't get it twisted. I think that a lot of these are panty droppers. I think they look really good. The readout looks really, really good, especially with the partial serration. I think that makes sense, especially if you cut a lot of rope. You don't care how clean your cuts are. But they're taking their knives that are incredibly popular, and they are just rehashing them all over again. And they're selling like hotcakes. You got wives going out and buying their husbands Benchmades because they think, oh, I think my husband likes Benchmade. I'm just going to go buy him one of those. Or whatever the case may be. And my opinion, I think that it's a passable thing for now. So all the category, the entire category for me particularly is going to be EDC, not for me. What do you guys think? Are you going to pick up some new items from Benchmade? Have you been picking up stuff from Benchmade? You know, am I tripping? I don't think that it's really worth it for me specifically. Now, a lot of times what happens is when they do drop these items, they drop on base. They drop on GovX for first responders and for doctors and for boys in blue and for vets. The price, but you know, that's not for the public at large. Most people, we're a percentage of a percentage. Less than 1% volunteer to go to the military. I would assume that probably less than 3%, actively pick up a pen and pad and apply for a job as an EMT, or go through the police academy, or go through all the years of school to become a doctor, or whatever the case may be. So those discounts, although they're very lovely, they're very for a minute number of people. So listen, I'm some guy on the internet. Benchmade doesn't give a fuck what I think, but I do believe that the way we speak for getting these prices to come back down is you speak with your wallet. And for now, I'll still sport the Benchmades I have. And if anybody wants to gift me a Benchmade, then, you know, you're more to absolutely. They're scissor worthy. Let me start my two-part apology. They're still scissor worthy, 100%. So the first story I want to talk about has to do with everyday carry in prep, like a few degrees of separation. Okay, a few degrees of separation, and I want to talk about the. Did you guys hear about that? The armorer for that movie Rust. She just got sentenced to 18 months in prison for a fatal shooting by Alec Baldwin. I'll give you a backstory very, very quickly. So this young lady here, her name is Hannah Gutierrez Reed. She got 18 months in prison for a fatal shooting where Alec Baldwin shot the cinematographer on the movie set of Rust. And he was handed the actual prop gun by her. She was the armor on the set. It was her job to actually check the gun for safety. She handed the gun to Alec Baldwin. He was practicing for a scene. The cinematographer and I think the director, assistant director, was in front of him. He pulled the trigger. It was supposed to be a blank. It had a real round in it. He killed her. So she ended up getting 18 months. She's only 26 years old, but I think, this is my opinion on it overall, I'm real big on gun safety. If you guys carries, if you CCW, if you open carry or whatever, you know, what is one of the first rules if you guys were in the military, whether you're in the Marine Corps or Army, you know, what's one of the 4 rules for treating or for a weapon, right? Treat every weapon as if it were loaded. Treat, never keep is what we used to say in the Marine Corps. Treat every weapon as if it were loaded. And another thing is never point a gun at something that you do not intend to shoot. Keep your finger straight and off the trigger until you're ready to fire. Keep the weapon on safe until you intend to fire. We had 4 principles in the Marine Corps. I haven't been in the Marines in a decade, and I still remember the principles that we talked about for gun safety. And she said she accidentally brought live rounds to work because she didn't have enough time, resources, or staffing. I'm still thoroughly confused. If you're an armorer, mostly for movies, she's not an armorer for a gun range. She's an armorer for movie sets. I think her dad was an armorer. She became an armorer at 20. I mean, if you're a 26-year-old and you're an armorer, I would assume you had some family that did it. I don't even know how I would get started in that line of work. But your job is to provide prop guns for TV shows, movies, et cetera, et cetera. How do you even have live rounds near your prop guns? That's one thing I had a question for. The reason that she got slapped with 18 months, which is the maximum, they monitored her jailhouse calls. She made over 200 jailhouse phone calls, and not one jailhouse phone call did she take accountability. Did she talk about gun safety? Did she talk about remorse? None of it. She just seemed to kind of like blame it on not having enough resources. She blamed Alec Baldwin. He should have did one more check, et cetera, et cetera. First off, I have been to jail before. I know that they monitor these phone calls. Are you an idiot? One of the first things they teach you when you're in jail, hey, listen, you know they recording these calls, right? Even tell you when you make the phone call. So the judge was disgusted because the judge said, hey, for all the people that conceal carry, You showed just recklessness with your handling of this weapon, the ability to allow live rounds to be brought to work. The judge was disgusted, threw the book at her. And it's not looking too good, in my opinion, for Alec Baldwin. His trial's coming up in July. He's the producer for it. He's trying to say it wasn't his fault. She gave him the gun. It's not his job, blah, blah, blah. I don't know about all that. Allegedly, he should have knew better. OK, you're the producer. You're the one that's just throwing a lot of money at this movie. I think you should have known a little bit better. This story's on AP if you want to check it out. I think you should have knew a little bit better about this. So he has a trial coming up for manslaughter in July. She also has another charge coming up for carrying a gun into a bar in New Mexico where guns were not allowed. They had a sign clearly posted, no guns allowed. I'm like, girl, you must be out your mind. OK, what is going on with you? So listen, I think that is closely related when it comes to everyday carry, preparedness, all this other. A lot of us may carry. I carry. I don't talk about it on live streams because YouTube has funny policies about handling a gun on live streams, but you can handle a gun and upload it video on demand. It's super weird. So during live streams, I never talk about my boomsticks. I got one sitting right here. Can't touch it because my whole stream might get shut down. You know, it should be super important when it comes to gun safety overall. I'm always watching my stuff. Yeah, I think that you got to have that type of discipline. Now, one story that I think I am thoroughly disturbed with how idiotic a lot of people sound on the internet with the next story. Have you ever heard of a small country called Israel? Maybe a country that's a little bit bigger called Iran. You guys ever heard of those countries? For the first time ever, Iran directly attacked Israel by launching 300 projectiles from their country over Jordanian airspace. If you guys don't know the layout of where Iran is located in regards to where Iran is located on a map, in order to shoot weapons towards Israel, the weapons have to go through another country's airspace. OK, it's not like they're right next door to one another. Right. So literally, Iran shot their weapons and they had to shoot their drones and their ballistic missiles and all that other stuff through Iraq, or it went through Kuwait, or it went through Saudi Arabia, whichever ones it went through. But it ultimately ended up going through Jordan. Now, 300 projectiles. Some of them are drones that are designed to destroy themselves. Some of them are ballistic missiles, whatever. And Israel's Iron Dome system was able to take care of most of them, according to the Israeli Defense Forces. Here's the issue I have is people are so laissez-faire with the talks of World War III, the talks of one country deserves it or another. I don't have an opinion on either one of these countries on what happened. Allegedly, Iran is saying that Israel attacked some of their forces in Syria and they were retaliated. I don't care about any of that crap. OK, I've been to 13 countries. I've been to several of these countries in this region, to include Bahrain, Jordan, Israel, Kuwait, Qatar, Afghanistan, which is, which is north of Pakistan, but it's right next to Iran. I am not particularly interested in our forces going over here to do any of that fighting. I've been over there. It sucks. We have to lose our boys for a bunch of freaking nonsense. By nonsense, I mean people yapping their mouths that have never served in the military on Twitter and on the internet. It was disgusting to me to see how many Gen Zs, how many older heads, people who are 7 degrees separation from somebody in the military cheering on one country or the other. OK, I don't care if you have a hard on for Israel, if you have a hard on for Iran. I don't care about either one. I want you to really think about the gravity and the seriousness of the nature. And CPM says, will Israel retaliate? It's a high possibility that they may. Here's the point that I want to drive home, that I don't want people to be laissez-faire. I don't want people to be laissez-faire with the fact that we are creeping closer to having to send our warm-blooded Americans to go fight again in countries that most of us cannot freaking spell, obviously. OK, I was in Jordan a few months after the civil war broke out in Syria. I was in Jordan by myself. My job in the Marine Corps was to write contracts. I went to a lot of countries by myself. A lot of times I had to grow my hair out. I had to grow a beard out. I had to blend in. It was easier to do in those countries because in a lot of those countries, people that, obviously you guys know I'm black. I don't know if you knew that, right? But a lot of those countries, black people are from Africa and they're assumed to be workers. Or if you're a black woman, you're assumed to be a housemaid, a prostitute, or braid hair. So I blend in very easy. I could just pretend to be a worker, like I work for some rich Jordanian family or whatever. But it was so chaotic, so laissez-faire. When the war broke out in Syria, I had to be evac extremely fast to the point where I had to leave clothes in a hotel room, rental cars. When I was in Bahrain, same thing. Every day they have civil unrest in Bahrain. I knew every day where I was not allowed to go. I was in Bahrain during Ramadan. Me as an American, I'm not allowed to drink water during Ramadan in public, or I would get slapped in the face by a police officer. I don't think people know the seriousness of going into some of these countries and just how you're just like, hell yeah, stick it to whoever. I don't want escalation to the point where we have to go over there. I'm more of a backer. I'm not a big fan of us throwing tons of money at these situations. But if we're throwing money at these situations instead of throwing red-blooded Americans and blood at the situations, then okay, whatever. Keep throwing money at the situations, right? I get it. I get how it goes. We send them old weaponry that gives the Boeings of the world, the Lockheed Martins of the world, the General Aviations of the world to build new weaponry for our troops here. That's why we send them our old weapons, just in case you guys didn't know that. So whenever you hear we sent Israel or we sent Ukraine weaponry, we're not sending them our brand new beautiful weapons. We're sending them weapons that are nearly aged out or something that we want to get something newer of. So if we want to replace the javelins with something newer, we send the javelins to Ukraine, and then we get the new badass shit that is built by defense contractors. But the point is, if I see you on X or Twitter or on my comments and you're just so especially if you're like a wet behind the ears, flowing locks, blondie, or some young black boy that obviously has dreads like me, and I know you haven't been in the military because you're too goddamn young, and you're just like, hell yeah, stick it to them. I sometimes want to metaphorically slap you. I'm not a big fan of it. If one country retaliates and it continues to escalate, it's not good for us. It's not. So stop, in my opinion, cheering for one or the other, because you're not going to volunteer to go over there and do that shit like I did and some of the folks that are in chat did. You're not going to do that shit. I don't want us to have to go over there for that stuff. Now, listen, let me talk about some everyday carry items that I'm kind of excited about. Okay. Let me talk about some everyday carry items that I'm kind of excited about. A lot of these companies are always innovating. They're always trying to find something new. Civivi Elementum. Listen, I talked about Benchmade earlier. Civivi and WWIII are just as guilty as Benchmade. When they have something that's very popular, they just rinse and repeat. Now, they're not as egregious as Benchmade because Benchmade bumps the fucking price up when they do it, okay? Let's just keep it real, okay? But Civivi dropped the original Elementum, a flipper with a liner lock. They didn't know how incredibly successful it was going to be. Then they ended up coming out with different blade shapes, such as the sheep or the clip, or I think you can get it in a warning now, all sorts of blade shapes. You can get it in a button lock. You can get it in a mini Elementum. Now they're about to drop the Civivi Elementum utility thumb stud. It's a button lock with blue aluminum scales, and it's going to be 2.26 inches for the slider component. It looks like it has like a little locking, twisting. I can't tell. What was that? I guess when you actually put it on here, you have to use I'm gonna kind of shit on this design a little bit, okay, guys, okay? But I'm excited the fact that they're innovating. Why am I excited about this? If you're in construction, if you're in HVAC, if you're in a facility where your knife is always getting gunked up and you carry a Milwaukee Fastback, you carry a Work Pro utility knife, you carry a DeWalt utility knife, and you're getting tired of that shit, you want a little bit of swag, these companies are trying to give you the answer, because big idea design shit is just fucking overpriced. Okay, the TPT slide, all that stuff, it's overpriced, and it's not great ergonomically. It's entirely too small. So now you get an option for something like this, where you can throw in your utility blades that you get from the big box stores. You get pick them up from Home Depot or Lowe's, and this thing's going to cost $50. That seems fair, huh? Maybe. I don't know. Aluminum scales. I like a little aluminum in my life. But here's the thing I don't like. It looks like to replace it. I'm not sure, but it looks like you have to use a T8 or T6 right here. I can't quite tell. But are you going to have a stubby with you or a micro with you? I might not be a fan of that. And then it's $50. It's like, God damn. I mean, I see what you're doing here, but I can just go buy a regular Elementum, for almost that price, maybe a little bit more. And then you got something like this, where O-Knife, which is, I think this is OEM by QSP. Don't quote me on that. O-Knife doesn't make their own knives. But the O-Knife O-Tactical U1 folding pocket utility, this one is just a locking screw. So if you're on a construction site, you don't have a stubby screwdriver with you, you can just buy this one. And if you need to change out the blade, you literally are able to just throw it in there and twist it in. Now, I don't know if this uses common utility blades because it doesn't have that second slot. You see how the Civivi has a second slot right here? I hope it fits. It should fit like normal. Maybe I'm tripping, but a lot of people have bought the O-Knife. I don't think that this many people, 185 reviews. But I mean, this thing is half the price, $24. If you still want that, now this is G10 scales with a carbon fiber overlay, right? But if you are trying to, like I said, you're a construction guy, you have to cut through a whole lot of zip ties on a brand new pallet of concrete. You have to do that a lot. I'm giving a real world example because the guys down the street from me do this shit all the time. He uses a box cutter, uses a utility knife. Maybe he wants to have something a little bit nicer in the pocket. Okay, maybe you get this. Or you may even decide to spend a little bit more money. I mean, you're already spending $50, right? Why not just spend the money and get something made of titanium? This still uses the common utility ones. This one's $85, so you're spending $35 more bucks. Titanium everything. It looks pretty good. You can still change it out with this is a quicker change system. It's like you push a button, you swap it out, kind of like the Gerber Prybred X. And it's still a little flipper. Looks pretty good, in my opinion. So as much as if I was in the market, if I was in the trades, if I was a construction guy, or if I was an HVAC or an electrician, or let's say I worked on garage floors and I did epoxy and I was opening up new, I'm just giving examples of where you might want a knife that you get it dirty all the time. And you don't want a really, really nice knife. I don't know if I would buy the Civivi. As much as they're innovating, aluminum gets scratched up a lot more than titanium. So I don't even know if I would want blue aluminum. It's going to be scratched up very easily. If they were going to do aluminum, I think they made it better off to maybe do an anodized aluminum, which this is not anodized. So it's not going to have that toughness. And I probably would just go with the G10 scales with the carbon fiber overlay. $24, I'm out the door. I have something that feels like a real knife in my pocket as a pocket clip, carry tip up, all that good stuff. Or if I want to go balls to the wall, I'm just going to get the titanium. Deep carry pocket clip. It looks like it has is that a frame lock? I don't know how you freaking actuate this thing. No, it's a liner lock. Yeah, so you have like all these different options. Oh, no, it is a little frame lock, is it? I can't really tell. But the point is, I like the fact that they are trying to innovate. I like the fact that they're going for it. But I don't know about that specific one. But I'm excited that they're at least going there. I'm excited that they're at least trying to go there. Okay. What do you guys think about that? Would you get the Civivi? Would you get the O-Knife? Or would you get what was the last one called? The Tyrant. Which one would you get? I don't know about the warranty with any of them. I don't know if you have an issue with the Civivi. And full disclosure, Civivi has sent me shit in the past. They're not going to send me this because I'm kind of shitting on it right now. But they've sent me stuff in the past. But I don't know. If I had my choice, I probably would go with what I already have, was the Gerber Prybred X, which is the easiest one to go with. Okay. But what do I know? What do I know? Maybe it's something that it's not for me overall. So yeah, I think that the options for it, I see where they're trying to go with it. I just don't know if I particularly rock with it. It says, yeah, pass on the Civivi box cutter, says you Duran. Yeah, I can see that. I can see but I'm excited that they're trying it. maybe V1's not going to be where it's at. Let's see. I'm not taking a T8. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You're not going to take a T8 driver with you. It might be T6. It looked pretty big, though, Mike and Ike, so it looks like a T8. But now you're walking around with either, you're not going to want an electric T8 because you might strip the screw. So now you want a stubby screwdriver with you. You want to keep it loaded with a T8. Your hands might be all dusty. If I go with either one, I'm probably going to go with the quick change, or I'm just going to go with the Milwaukee fastback. Civivi spams the market. Yes, Civivi and O-Knife or O-Light, they they're known for that, but they're known for that. The Gerber EAB is perfection. I haven't seen a better design. Field trip. Let me see. I don't know if do I know what the Gerber? The Gerber EAB. I feel like I've seen it before. I know it's a budget knife or budget. Is it a knife or is it a utility type of option? The Gerber EAB. Ah, sir, you got a good head on your shoulders. Yeah, it does look like a nice solution. So it's $13. You can even get they have different variants of it. And it's highly reviewed. I mean, 14,000 people have bought this thing. Yeah, this is not their first rodeo. I'm a big fan of the Gerber Pry Bread X because it has a pry bar in it, a bottle cap lifter. So as much as this Gerber EAB looks efficient, I particularly do like the Gerber Pry Bread. It still uses a full size utility. If you want to get a number 11 utility blade, which is the X-Acto blade size, then you can get the Pry Bread X. But yeah, this kind of gets the job too. I didn't even know this one existed. Hey, good looking out, man. I didn't even know this one existed. Because this is the Pry Bread for $24. And they don't even have the Pry Bread X showing up over here. I would have to look it up. But yeah, there's a lot of different options. Personally, not a fan of utility knives. Yeah, listen, Piranha, I'm not a big fan of them until I'm about to gunk up a knife. If I'm about to gunk a knife up seriously, like heavily about to gunk up a knife, I am A-okay with the utility knife because I can just throw the blade away. So an example, I put together a bunk bed the other day. The bunk bed came in 3 boxes. One box weighed 86 pounds. The other box weighed 82 pounds. One box weighed 62 pounds. I open the boxes. There's styrofoam, tape, the clingy type of saran wrap type plastic all over the fucking place. And they have like little small indentations telling you exactly where to cut. I went and grabbed my little micro utility knife that I use every now and again. Field trip. Let me see if I can find it. My little small utility knife that I use because I can just gunk that blade up with no issues versus gunking up. I think I was carrying the tactile tuber. Yeah, here it is right here. I carry the everyday blade every now and again. I bought this thing a couple of years ago. I use this thing all the time. That was $45. It never goes on sale. I would like to recommend it to people more, but it uses a number 11 utility blade. Or if you want to, you can throw one of these blades in it. It has one of these goofy looking blades. So you could throw, they have like their version of like a drop point, straight point type blade, cleavers and all sorts of stuff. But I use this thing all the time if I don't want to gunk up one of my nice knives. I think it's made of stainless steel. It's super small and I can just swap the blade out versus having to use a knife that I'm going to have to take to my knife area. And am I going to have to put a little bit of oil on and I got to clean the blade up? Am I going to cut myself trying to clean the tip of the blade? It's just a headache sometimes. So that's what I do a lot of time. But yeah, you're right. I don't carry a utility knife. Like I just showed you my loadout. There's not a utility knife for my loadout. Let's talk about your must-do maintenance of the week. So the last time I did one of these, I said that it's time for you to clean and organize your power tools. Who did that? If you watched my last podcast or if you watched the replay of this last one, did you do maintenance to your power tools? Did you check and see if I don't care what system you're in. You're in Milwaukee, you're in Bauer, you're in Metabo HPT, you might be in Bosch. Let me know which power tool system that you're in. I'm in a few of them, Boosie. I apologize. I got 4. I'm in 4 systems. I'm in the Bosch 12 volt. I'm in the Milwaukee 12 volt, the M12 line. I'm in Metabo HPT for my 20 and 36 volt. Those are my powerful tools that I can drill through brick and major projects. And all my outdoor tools are Works. 20 volt and 40 volt Works. My lawnmower is a 21-inch steel deck lawnmower that uses 4 20-volt batteries, and I can cut my entire lawn and have like almost full batteries. I never thought I would enjoy electric so much. 4 systems I have to maintain. Technically 5, because in my truck I have a regular Metabo, the German kind, the overseas kind, that lives in my truck. I have to maintain that battery too. But I'm not, I don't lodge myself to one specific system. So who did that last time? This time, what I want you to do for your must-do maintenance of the week, I want you to move stuff around that you have not cleaned. We're going to call this man cave or garage spring cleaning. I have to do it myself. Okay. You may notice a different angle for this live stream because I literally moved this entire man cave table 3 feet to the left, to my left, swept, cleaned under the table. I moved my knife storage area. I moved all my subwoofers that are behind me, my audio amplifiers, my PlayStations, my Xboxes, finding old dead bugs and dust and all that type of stuff. I'm not calling this spring clean. I'm calling this man cave cleaning. I want you to go through, try to get rid of allergens, things that might bring bacteria and disease in your man cave. Move your computers out the way. Move your refrigerator away from the wall if you have one in your man cave. You have a cooler door for your cigars, turn it off. Move it away from the wall. You got a refrigerator that needs to be defrosted, drag it out in the garage and defrost your refrigerator. Man cave maintenance is going to be for this week. I'm going to participate, and I'm going to come back and ask you, did you actually participate as well? Okay. Let's see if we can practically do a little bit of spring cleaning for our man cave, whatever space that is for you. You may have a closet in your house, or you may be blessed like I am with a whole 3-car garage. I have a lot more that you have to do if you're in a closet. Okay. I'm just saying, unfortunately, it's so crazy, Jason, that you mentioned a dump run, because so for us to do a dump run where I live in Plano, Texas. You can go to the dump. You just take them your water bill, your driver's license to prove that you live in the city, and you can do a dump run, right? I do it all the time. I'm there all the time. I will take mattresses there, excessive cardboard, and my wife is just like, well, they're coming Thursday. I'm like, yeah, I don't want this shit sitting here till Thursday. I don't. So I will do dump. I own a truck. It's a 6.5-foot bed. I'm throwing it in there. I'm going to do a dump run. I'm going to get some coffee, and I'll come back. I have to start a new Discord. A lot of people ask me about the Discord as well. And my Discord was hacked. And someone actually, it was hacked. Listen, let me tell you. Someone hacked my Discord, and then they opened up a channel for prawn. Reverse some of those letters and think about what word I'm saying. Someone opened up an entire channel for prawn in my Discord. Locked me out of my own Discord as the admin. I can go in my Discord as a participant, but I couldn't go in as the admin. And then they shut it. When I started to get control back and they noticed I was trying to reset the password, they shut down my Discord. I'm smoking a Cuban Reject, Michael. I forget what the company makes it, but it's called a Cuban Reject. But it's crazy. So I need to start another one, because that's where I want to have the opportunity to do movie nights. You can't stream a movie here, but Discord, if you're in the Discord, maybe we can stream like the Pacific, right? If you're into war movies or stuff like that. Or gaming nights. I have a PlayStation 5, I have an Xbox. So if you guys are into stuff like that, then we can do that type of stuff in the Discord as well. So I'm going to be working on getting the Discord back up and running. Hey, listen, guys. Super fantastic. I appreciate y'all once again for stopping by for another Mantuary podcast, Man Cave Mondays, all of that good stuff. Hit that subscribe button if this is your first time stopping by. I would love to have you a part of the battalion. If this is not your first time stopping by, I'm not talking to you. Okay. You've already done what I need you to do. And I appreciate all that good stuff as well. If you're a channel member, there's a couple videos you can see that other people cannot see. If you're not a channel member, they will be released in a couple days. We will speak soon.